Okay, it's October 14th, 2017, and I am sitting in the center of the labyrinth on the island, Lummi or Lummi Island, where the natives of the area did a lot of their dream work. I chose to enter into this pilgrimage to the island blindfolded, basically, in an academic sense, that I didn't do a lot of research because I wanted to learn things as I went. I will make a separate recording about all of the things that I've learned, as far as what I've been shown by the Fae and what I was shown by messages. And then what I will do is I will actually do research to see if some of those things were true, because that is what shows you an authentic connection to something, when you actually get the messages and start to feel them, and basically the dream is unveiled to you, is revealed as it happens in front of you, and then you go see if that was an authentic and true experience. So I wanted to hurry up and do this part of the recording before I went to the boneyard, the graveyard, which is a graveyard because it's an old graveyard, and I don't believe there's any cremations there, which would make it a graveyard instead of a cemetery, by the church, which is by the labyrinth, right up the hill from here. And so I'm in the center of the labyrinth. I walked it. I believe this was the third time I went to the center, and I am now going to speak briefly about my journey. So, my salvia dream excavation in the center of the labyrinth on Lummi or Lummi Island. I still can't figure out if I'm pronouncing that right. This is part one of these tapes for October 14th, 2017. So, it was a pretty quick journey because I'm here with my daughters and a friend, and I didn't want to go too deep, so I kind of just wanted to open a dream gate, do a gate ritual, kind of pay respect to the area, and just kind of start the process, because I'm sure this will be one of many things that I do here. So I closed my eyes and I saw an old grandmother of a tribe, and she had a shawl around her, and I was kind of wondering, looking back on that now, if that was maybe me in the future, because my friend let me borrow this really pretty infinity shawl, this pink, flowery, beautiful thing. And I was wondering, I don't know, she seemed like she might have had furs around her. But she was in like a stone dwelling, so it was almost more Nordic. And the thing that's interesting is, one thing that's been revealed to me today is that there's a lot of Nordic influence here as well, not just Native American of the tribe here, but also Nordic influence, because the way certain rocks are stacked and the way certain structures are. And I kind of wonder if maybe some of my dreams that were showing me that I was connected to this place a long time ago, it might actually be a Nordic connection as well. And so in this vision, she was kind of like just being comfortably like, come home, come in out of the cold, the stones are warming the soup, and we're in the cave. But it wasn't a cave, it was like a stone structure, almost like a new grange. Yeah, it was like a new grange, but it was definitely in this area. This area definitely feels extremely between space. In other words, the hallow, it's very sacred, ceremonial space where I believe a lot of work was done with the spirits and the dream time. Anyways, so of course when I went into the journey, of course this always happens when I go into one of these journeys, and I go deeper than I expected to, and I reach that what I call the death place, which is where you feel like you could communicate with anybody who's passed on at that point. And the first person who came to my mind was a woman who got hit by the train. And I just went there, and I was sitting on the train tracks, and then the goddess was like, don't you mean you just want to go and pay respect to yourself, because we are all one? And then I was the woman, and it was like this all-encompassing moment of beauty and understanding. And then I kind of went out of that a little bit, because the goddess was like, this isn't the time for that. This is your time, and you're making it about another story, and this is more about your story, but you're being what you usually do when you go into that space. You try to help people that have passed, you always do that. But this is about your story. So then I kind of went into my story, and it was just like the connection to the dream time in general. And it felt very sacred and very comfortable. And that woman was like, I almost want to cry talking about it, because it reminds me of a lot of the first salvia journeys I had years ago, when I would be kind of taken to this tribal setting, and I was a pain bearer for the tribe, and it was a coming home feeling of going home to the great grandmother, And I think that the stone structure probably represented some kind of like almost like a Newgrange type of a thing, of anything from Newgrange to the tomb that, you know, Jesus was laid to rest in. It was that kind of feeling of a sacred tomb, but also a sacred home. So yeah, I didn't want to go too deep, so I didn't go too deep. Now I'm going to go up and check out the graveyard, and that's that. And I believe I will probably come back here and have many more experiences. That was just kind of an opening of a gateway, just kind of like, okay, I'm opening this gateway and I'm allowing myself to be connected to this area. I did leave a copper labyrinth spiral kind of connect me to the area, and make an agreement with the area that I would be sacred and that I would do work here and that I would respect the land. I did not hardly take anything from this space because I just do not feel like that is what I'm supposed to do. And I brought a lot of things and left a lot of things. I'm looking at the wax formation that the wax left behind from the candle in the center, and it looks almost like a bind rune, and that would be joy and the Fae. Joy and Fae. So Win or Wunjo and Fae. And so the joy of the Fae, joy to the dreamers, joy to the Twath, joy to the Lummi or the Lummi, Native Americans that were the dreamers of their tribes, and probably the Twath and the ley line walkers and the namers and all of that in between. And I think I want to do another tape where I really talk about like where this journey really started for me, which was back in Coopville, Washington, when I was just a young girl, and then how it's ended here with this understanding of this connection to this tribal mythos and this tribal love. So I'm going to go on now. Again, it's October 14th, 2017. I could have gone deeper. I know I could have gone deeper if I wanted to. I was definitely sinking into the ground and becoming the trees. And I knew that if I really wanted to, I could have. But again, I came here with my daughters and my friend. And so I wanted to make this brief and then probably come back by myself another time and do the rest of this journey. And anyways, I do pay respects to the natives of the area. I pay respects to the great goddess. I pay deep, deep, honorable respects to the great grandmother and Luna and all the spirits that have passed before me and all the spirits that have messages. And I ask that I am a child of Luna and that I do not act out of malice, and therefore I always, always, always ask that my intentions be carried out the same.